Okay, today we're talking about coordinate planes. You need to remember a few things about coordinate planes. Number one, you need to know which one is the y-axis and which one is the x-axis. Now, when I tell my kids we have the y-axis, which is the vertical number line, and the x-axis, which is the horizontal number line. And a number line is just a line with numbers on it. Okay, so you can draw your number line. Like this. I'm drawing my number line. Okay, now a number line, if it is a horizontal number line, which means going crossways, then to the right of you is going to be your positive numbers, to the left is going to be your negative numbers. Now right here where these two intersect is called your origin. It is the middle where you start every time. That is 0. Okay, now your y-axis is the vertical, the one that goes up and down. If the numbers are above the 0, it is positive. If the numbers are below the 0, they are negative. So I'm going to draw my negative signs. Now, in coordinate planes, very important to know the quadrants. They have 4 quadrants. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4. We are split up into 4 pieces, so 4 quadrants. These are the quadrants. Very important that you remember the quadrants because you get asked a lot of questions about these quadrants, and you do not need to mix them up. And that's the Roman numerals. They do them as Roman numerals. You can write the regular number. I just want to do them how they do. Okay, now when you are doing quadrants, a lot of the times your ordered pairs, which we'll talk about in a minute, if it is in quadrant 1, it is going to be positive, positive. If it is in quadrant 2, it's going to be negative and then a positive. If it's in quadrant 3, it's going to be negative, negative. And if it's in quadrant 4, it's going to be positive, then negative. So a lot of the times when they give you questions about seeing if it's in a certain quadrant, but they don't give you a graph to look at, this is something that will help you to remember. So remember, in quadrant 1, both of them have to be positive. In quadrant 2, x is negative, y is positive. Quadrant 3, negative, negative, and quadrant 4, positive, negative. So they're kind of like opposites. So right here is positive, positive, so quadrant 3 is negative, negative. Quadrant 2 is negative, positive, so quadrant 4 is positive, negative. It gives you a couple different ways to remember it. Alright, so I'm just going to write this. This is my x-axis for you guys to remember while we're writing. X-axis is the horizontal number line. The y-axis is the vertical number line. Okay, and I'm going to draw some arrows. The horizontal goes side to side, vertical up and down. That might be able to help you a little bit. Now, excuse me. When we are doing the ordered pairs, ordered pairs are numbers that tell you the location on a graph. Okay, so they're the numbers where the local point is. For example, I'm going to draw another graph down here. this is what your ordered pairs look like. Now, the reason why I have X and I have Y in here instead of numbers for right now is because I want you to understand that the X is for the X-axis and it comes first, always comes first. The Y is for the Y-axis and it comes second. So the first number tells you whether you're going to go to the left or to the right, and the second number will tell you whether you're going up or down. Depends on if it's negative or positive. So that's very important to remember. Big key thing in coordinate planes and plotting pairs, because if you're not sure if you're supposed to go up or you're down, that's confusing. So as long as you can remember this is very important. X is first, Y is second. Okay, so I'm going to draw a small graph quickly. And okay, there's my small graph. I'm going to put some ordered pairs here. So I'm going to do -1, 2, 2, 2, 1, -3, and -1, -1. These are ordered pairs. This is an ordered, if you can see that, pair. Okay, these are ordered pairs. You see the X is first, the Y is second. So the X tells me which way I'm going, left or right, and the Y tells me up or down. So this first one is -1. So I know that it's negative, so I'm going to go to the left, and my Y is a +2, so that tells me I'm going up. So I'm going up to number 2, and there's my point. The next one, this one is, the X is positive, so I'm going to the right, and the Y is positive, so that tells me I'm going up. So I'm going up to the 2, and there's my second point. Okay, now here my X is positive, so I go over, but my Y is negative, so I'm going to go down. There's my next point. Now these two are both negative, so I know that I'm going to go over and down. And there's my fourth point. So I've just plotted 4 points on my graph. Now this one, I can see now that this one is in the quadrant 1. This one is in quadrant 2. This one is in quadrant 3, and this one is in quadrant 4. And if you see back to my beginning graph, they correspond with the ones that we told you. Just like this, these two are to both positive. This is negative and then positive. Both negative, and positive and negative. I also want to show you quickly one more thing. 1, 2, 3, 1. Okay, now I only put up 2 positives, and I'm just going to show you, I want to write, not 4 because we don't have 4, so 3, 0. Okay, well that's 3, 0, and what does 0 mean? Now, we all know X is first, Y is second, right? So X tells me that I need to go over 3. The 0 means that I'm not going neither up or down. So my dot is going to be right on the X-axis. Same thing for this switched around. So if I have 0, 3, this tells me that I am not going left or right. I'm only going up or down, and this is positive, so that means I'm only going to go up. And my dot should be right there on the Y-axis. That's very clear to know. Now, if you have a 0 in your X-axis, your dot's going to be on your Y-axis. If you have a 0 in your Y-axis, your dot's going to be on your X-axis. Just a quick way to remember. But here is coordinate planes. Now, we did this today. Students had homework with this. So if there's any trouble, I hope this helps. Thanks.